Buddhism, officially introduced in the 2nd century BC by Venerable Mahinda of South India to King Jetavana Rama, is the religion followed by the majority of Sri Lankans. Sri Lanka is the world's oldest Buddhist country, with the continuing practice of the religion throughout the millennia and acting as the current center of Theravada Buddhism. In Sri Lanka, much of the architecture has been built to honor the Lord Buddha, founder of Buddhism in Sri Lanka. With the propagation of Buddhism in Sri Lanka, great religious zeal was projected to the construction of building stupas, monasteries, and temples to venerate the sacred relics of the Buddha. Architecture in the ancient capitals of Sri Lanka all contribute to displaying rich varieties of architectural form and style. Even in their ruined conditions, the buildings of ancient Sri Lanka provide a cultural heritage and architectural significance, which is important to modern Sri Lankan culture. Buddhism has had a major influence on architecture, including many other aspects of Sri Lankan life. Therefore, this paper will outline several ancient capitals in Sri Lanka: Anuradhapura, Polonnaruwa, Kandy, Dikwela, Colombo district, and Brickfields, that have all beautifully constructed architectural sites which continue in providing Sri Lankans a place to venerate the Lord Buddha. Ancient sites of Anuradhapura. The sacred city of Anuradhapura is world famous for its well-preserved ruins of the great Sri Lankan civilization. Anuradhapura is famously known for its many sites configured in honoring the Buddha. The fascinating ancient ruins, including huge bell-shaped stupas built of small sun-dried bricks, temples, sculptures, and palaces, and ancient drinking water reservoirs. Anuradhapura is one of the most extensive ruins in the world, and is one of the most sacred Buddhist pilgrimage cities. Historically, Anuradhapura was a great monastic center as well as a royal capital, with magnificent monasteries rising to many stories, roofed with gilt bronze or tiles of burnt clay, glazed in brilliant colors. With the introduction of Buddhism, the city gained more prominence and the great building eras began, in which ancient cities were constructed. The ancient sites of Anuradhapura that are mentioned in this paper are Sri Mahabodhi, Samadhi Buddha statue, Anuvakana Buddha statue, stupas specifically Thuparama Stupa, Jetavana Rama Stupa, Nisraveti Stupa, Abhiyagira Debaga Stupa, and the Ruwanveli. Anuradhapura is a place that holds many beautiful ancient relics in statues and monastery complexes, which many Buddhists revere. Although statues and monasteries were of rather common occurrence during the great building era in Anuradhapura, rare sites were also developed. One of these sites is where the Sri Mahabodhi originated. This sacred fig tree is said to be sprouted from the original Bodhi tree under which the historical Buddha attained enlightenment. Buddha's fig tree was brought to Sri Lanka in the 3rd century BC by Thiri Sangita, daughter of Emperor Ashoka and founder of an order of Buddhist nuns. Sri Mahabodhi was planted in 288 BC and is the oldest living human-planted tree in the world with a known planting date, which is quite a rarity. It was planted on a high terrace about 6.5 meters above the ground, surrounded by railings. Today, it is one of the most sacred relics to Buddhists in Sri Lanka and is widely respected by Buddhists all over the world. Anuradhapura also houses the famously known Samadhi Buddha statue, which is recognized for its statuesque representation of the Buddha in a calming meditative state. This magnificent 8-foot-tall statue is sculpted out of beautiful granite, displaying the Lord Buddha seated under a Bodhi tree in the serene state of Samadhi, or deep meditation. The Bodhi sits in a cross-legged position with upturned palms, placed one over the other in his lap, again signifying a posture of concentrated meditation. The expression on the Buddha's face betrays neither happiness nor sorrow, but a deep contemplation. There's a classical poem depicting the Samadhi Buddha statue. Buddha sitting in meditation, calm face without agitation. His teachings not confined just to Indian nation, but implies to the whole world of pollution, which is headed towards destruction. He prescribes the universal solution, the path of wisdom, morality, and concentration. May all walk on this path. This statue is considered the finest classical masterpiece of the Lord Buddha in his meditative state, and is a statue intended for Buddhists in Sri Lanka to recognize and attempt to replicate. The Abakada statue is another statue of the Lord Buddha, which is mostly recognized for its vastness and height. The Abakada statue is one of the largest statues in Sri Lanka. The enormously tall statue, carved out of solid granite, towers a total of 42 feet in height, including the pedestal. The statue dates back to the reign of King Dasusena in the 5th century. The right hand depicts Abhaya Mudra, which represents the gesture of fearlessness, also called the gesture of renunciation. The Buddha has his upper right hand slightly elevated with his palm turned outwards, indicating freedom from fear. The left hand indicates that he is holding up his robe. One of the special features, different from other statues of the Buddha, is that both of the Buddha's hands are facing upwards. The Abakada statue is another statue of great importance for Sri Lanka, because it is a way for Sri Lankans to honor the Lord Buddha. The earliest monument found in Sri Lanka is the Stupa. The Stupa is the earliest Buddhist religious monument and was originally only a simple mound made of mud or clay to cover relics of the Buddha. Fundamentally, a stupa is essentially made up of the following 5 constituents: a square base, a hemispherical dome, a conical spire, or a pyramidal structure on the top of the building, a crescent moon, and a circular disc seated on top of the square base. After the passing away of the Buddha, his remains were cremated and the ashes divided and buried under sacred stupas. During the 3rd century BC, after his conversion to Buddhism, the Emperor Ashoka had several thousand stupas built at sacred sites in India. In these stupas were enshrined relics of the Buddha, which Buddhists venerated in the past and continue to do today. There are several stupas in Anuradhapura, but the ones with paper covers are Thiruparamaya, Jetavana Rama, Mir Shivaji, Abhayagiri Dabaga, Ruwanweliseya, Pabarama, and Theravada. The Thiruparama Stupa is considered the first stupa built in Sri Lanka after the introduction of Buddhism. Mahinda, Emperor Ashoka's son, introduced Theravada Buddhism and Jitya worship to Sri Lanka. At Mahinda's request, King Jetavana Rama built Thirupara, which is considered one of the smaller stupas in Anuradhapura. Nevertheless, it is very sacred to Buddhists, as they believe it enshrines the collarbone of the Buddha. King Mahinda has the honor of being the creator of the Jetavana Rama, another superbly recognized stupa in Anuradhapura. Jetavana Rama is the largest stupa built in Sri Lanka, with a height estimated to be an enormous 400 feet. Jetavana Rama is also considered the largest stupa in the world. To illustrate the vastness of this stupa, a description of Jetavana Rama is needed. Approximately 93,300,000 baked bricks were used to build the stupa. The compound covers approximately 8 acres and once housed over 300 Buddhist monks. One side of the stupa is 576 feet in depth, and the 4 flights of steps at the 4 sides run 28 feet in depth. The doorpost to the shrine, which is situated at the courtyard, is 27 feet in height, and the stupa is a foot underground. This stupa belongs to the Sagalika sect. It is also believed that a part of a sash tied by the Buddha is enshrined here. This magnificently enormous structure is honored for its vastness and is venerated for the Buddha's relics manifested inside. King Dutugamunu, after defeating King Alara, built the Mirashiveti stupa. After placing the Buddha relics on the scepter, he had gone to Tiawisia for a bath, leaving the scepter. After the bath, he returned to the place where the scepter was placed, and it is said that it could not be moved. The stupa was built in the place where the scepter stood, and to this day, Buddhists honor this sacred scepter in the Mirasaveti stupa. Another stupa in Anuradhapura, Abhayagiri Dabaga, was found in the 2nd century BC and has grown into an international institution, attracting scholars from all over the world and encompassing all shades of Buddhist philosophy. The term Abhayagiri means not only a complex of monastic buildings, but also a fraternity of Buddhist monks, or Sangha, which maintains its own historical records, traditions, and way of life. Abhayagiri's Buddhist influence can be traced to other parts of the world through branches established elsewhere. Thus, the Abhayagiri Dabaga developed as a great institution in the relation to the Mahavihara and the Jetavana Buddhist monastic sets